Welcome back to the second video lesson of a photograph by Shirley Toulson. My dear students, today we are going to have a line-to-line study of the first stanza. As we have already discussed, the points that are very much important for us to remember before we read the poem, and let us have a look at those points that we had discussed in our previous class. As we entered into the first stanza, we automatically entered into the first stage of the poem. In this stage, the poet is talking about the photograph and its content. The photograph has captured an old, unseen past for the poet, and it was about the childhood of her mother. The moment captured by the camera in the form of the photograph is, of course, it is a very happy time for her mother. It was happy because of their outing to the sea, and it was also because of the company of other two girls which were junior or which were smaller to the poet's mother. All the three girls, they had a very happy moment during their sea holiday, and the happy moment can be understood by us from the following phrases like smile through their hair, a sweet face, like that. The second image, that a very important image that the poet creates in the first stanza, in the first stage itself, is that the human life is transitory, and to bring the theme of the ephemeral nature of human life, she has brought in the image of the transient feet of the three children trying to walk in the sandy beach, and see how important is the image. They are terribly transient feet. Here terribly means greatly, immensely. Transient means temporary, or whatever you may feel it to call. It is the mortal human grip on the sand of time. The third image that the poet brings in the first stanza or in the first stage is the immortality of nature. Unlike the ephemeral human life, nature is eternal, and the image of the sea the sea waves here, they illustrate the continuity of nature as against the temporary or the transitory nature of human beings. One thing should be very clear to us when we study the poem, that Shirley Toulson or the other poems, the poems that we mostly study here, they relate to the universal problems, and because of that reason, these poems have been widely acclaimed over the countries, irrespective of European, Asian, African feelings. And these are the general poems having universality of theme and greatness of touch. Here, please see that thousands of visitors or seagoers, they visit a particular beach every day. The poet's mother, along with her cousin sisters, were such thousands or lakhs of people that daily visit a beach. But these visitors, they only visit for a day, for a month, for some days, for some months, some years, and after that they die. But the sea waves, the image of the sea waves striking against the ephemeral human or temporary human feet is an excellent example of the contrast of humans with nature in terms of immortality and transitoriness. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. So here the poet tells that the cardboard is, or the cardboard has been continuously showing her the same photo throughout her life. Even when she was a child, she saw that same photograph. When she was young, she used to see the same photograph. When she has become old, she is looking at the same photograph of her mother and the two cousin sisters of her mother. When the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands. So, from the time she can remember, the photograph has been the same one, having the photos of three young children whom she knew that it were the photographs of her mother when she was 12 years old and the two cousin sisters of her mother who were smaller or junior to her. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so, all three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So it is a very tidy experience. to stop our movement and to stand still at a beach. Definitely, it is a tiresome effort. And whatever it may be, the three girls, they tried their best to make a pose for the photograph to be taken up by the camera, and it was definitely a memorable day for them all. And all of the three girls, they were smiling because of their funny effort to stand still against the dashing waves of the sea on the beach. A sweet face of my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. And of the three girls, as a daughter is much attached to her mother, so according to the poet, her mother was having the sweetest face, and because of that reason, the word sweet, the adjective sweet, has been applied by her only with respect to the face of her mother. And also, it denotes to the time, as we have already discussed, that it was the unseen period of the poet, and it was the childhood period when her mother was only 12. And also, here the contrast between the temporary human life and the permanent sea has been illustrated by the terms that the sea have changed less, or more or less the sea has the same look even today also. And the feet, they have terribly transient feet. The feet were trying to stand still against time, but they couldn't, because their feet were constantly hit by the strong waves of the sea. And that is a magnificent illustration how human beings, they try to be permanent in nature, and nature is constantly reminding us that we cannot stay permanent in nature.